One of Jada's biggest cheating scandals came during Red Table Talk, when Jada sat across from Will and finally said out loud what people had been whispering for years. She revealed she had a relationship, which she famously tried to soften by calling it an entanglement with R&B singer August Alsina, while still married to Will.
From there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
Yes, we know entanglement is vague as hell, but thankfully, Will pressed her to be more clear.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship, absolutely.
That episode exploded. 15 million views in just 24 hours. People couldn't believe what they were watching. Will looked broken, Jada looked calm, and the internet realized their marriage wasn't what it had been sold as. Jada first met August Alsina back in 2015 when he was just 22 years old. They crossed paths at one of Willow and Jaidyn's concerts. At the time, August was struggling badly physically, mentally, and emotionally. He later revealed he had developed an addiction to painkillers after collapsing on stage during a concert. According to Jada, he came to her asking for help with life. In a radio interview, he said he deeply loved Jada and gave years of his life to the relationship. He said he gave his whole heart and had no regrets about telling the truth. That's when Will and Jada went public about their private separation and tried to reframe the situation as part of their growth. Jada denied August's claim that Will approved of the relationship, but she didn't deny the relationship itself. Now, when the August Alsina story first came out, most people focused on the shock of it all. But comedian DL, who he looked at it from a very different angle, and what he saw made him deeply uncomfortable. He said that it seemed like Jada's relationship with August was almost predatory. That's why to him, the August situation crossed a line.
And my daughter had a friend who she brought home from college and she lived with us, right? And she needed a place to stay. And she lived with us, and I accepted her as now she's been there so long and we've known each other so long that she's literally like my daughter to me. Imagine me and my old lady, me and my wife break up, and I start messing around with her.
Yeah, because August Alsina was Jaidyn's friend,
right?
Who he brought to the house.
So I think it was, and I'm not, look, I ain't in nobody's business to say thing, but when they were talking, well, he was sick and he was mentally sick and he was emotionally sick. Now, that's predatory.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually compared her, Jada Pinkett, to R. Kelly without the underage part. And people got really mad. Without the underage part, what's really the difference?
Let me tell you something. If you're sick, he's physically ill.
Yeah.
He's emotionally, and then the damage you do. Like, this dude was talking about killing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it isn't just you having an affair or whatever you do. It's that in your wake, because you felt bad, that dude fell behind it.
Still is.
And you can't tell me that if that were Will, he'd never be saving the world again. I don't understand. Like to me, that if somebody is mentally ill, they are physically ill, they are compromised in some way, you financially support them, and then that is the whole reason that the Me Too movement exists, because people leveraged
their power
and influence, right.
Not because of age alone, but because of circumstances as fame, money, influence, and emotional control. DL said when one person has all the power and the other is barely holding themselves together, that's a dangerous imbalance. He argued that if the roles were reversed, public reaction would have been brutal.
Kind of like a cuckold right now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, when August said, and Will gave me permission, that's when everyone just said, oh, God.
Well, it went from August Alsina to August Alteller. First off, let me tell you something. If I let you, my wife, don't me too. I'm not then ready to.
Right.
Shut up. But that's what happens when you are. What was the best result that could have happened from a young, mentally unstable dude? What did you think would happen?
There's pictures of all three of them, like hugged up on each other, like taking pictures.
Fuck that. I can't do it.
She's parading him around.
I can't do it.
On red carpets with him.
I'm not that. Look here. I ain't built that way.
Yeah, I feel you.
Now, I'm not going to say it couldn't happen. I'm not saying what I forgive or not forget. What I wouldn't be doing is sit my ass up there while you make me a fucking meme. That ain't happening.
Comedian Lewell echoed many of those same concerns. She said August wasn't a snitch. He was a hurt man. In her words, when a man is hurt deeply, it can break him in ways people don't take seriously. She pointed out that August was already fragile before the relationship even started. He had health problems, family losses, emotional trauma, and no real stability. And yet, instead of being guided toward professional help, he ended up in a complicated romantic situation with a married woman who held far more power and security than he did.
He was already mental when she got him. Fragile, to say the least. He'd been through, he had a terrible relationship with his mama. Health problems. Health problems, lost his sister, lost his brother, had his kids, got their kids. He was fragile when she got him. Jaidyn brought him to her. Jaidyn.
Oh, Jaidyn?
Brought him to the home.
Oh, really? That's how he even got in the mix? Oh, man. This gets more interesting by the day.
That's word on the street.
Word on the street. Right.
And, in whatever Will's dalliances, agreed upon dalliances may have been, you don't hear none of his chicks talking. And Willow didn't bring home one of her little girlfriends, and Will started smashing her.
Allegedly.
I ain't heard no R. Kelly stuff about Will Smith.
Well, I'm not saying underage, but I'm sure Willow got friends over 18.
I'm sure that Will get his own mother side. So he don't need his daughter to wrangle no pictures for him. But when you take upon a role of mentoring somebody, which I don't know when Jada became the Earth Mother of the world, but okay, last I checked, that was the chick who set it off, and the Cosby Show and stuff like that, and doing some great acting, and we love Jada, the action hero. She's like a little action hero, but I don't know when she turned into this guru. But if that's the role you're gonna play, then it's not fair to take a boy who's dealing with all that.
Lewell questioned Jada's role as a mentor. She said, if you take on the position of helping someone heal, you don't blur that line. You don't mix emotional support with romance, especially when the other person is clearly struggling.
He made a song called Entanglement, where he's basically mocking Will, talking about, I'm doing things that you can't do, and this, that, and the third.
No doubt.
And then he said that Will gave him permission.
Well, just like Jada said, can't nobody give you permission to do anything but you. If she would have done it without his permission, probably.
I mean, Will crying though on that table, like that Will.
I had already cut it off by then.
The Will, which is replacing the Jordan crying meme. The Will crying meme.
I never saw. I couldn't take it.
Couldn't see it.
No,
you've never seen the Will crying?
No,
meme?
I didn't stay that long.
But did you actually see the picture I'm talking about?
No. Why, you got it?
Of course, I got it.
Oh my God! This is gonna replace the Jordan crying meme.
Of course.
Oh man,
sorry,
I ain't seen it. Oh man, Will,
you've never seen this?
I did see that.
You did see that. I'm saying you can't be on the internet and not see that.
I didn't want to see it.
Both DL and Lewell agreed on one thing. The public reaction would have been completely different if Will had done the same thing under the same circumstances. Dr. Umar has his own theory about what's really going on between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. And it's not about love anymore. He claims that from everything he's heard, there is no prenuptial agreement. And if that's true, music, it explains almost everything that's happening now. He believes Jada wants out of the marriage, but not without her share.
What I've heard, they do not have a prenuptial agreement. If that is true, that Will does not have a prenuptial agreement, that helps to understand everything that's transpiring. I believe the reason he's still with her at this point is to safeguard his estate, which he should. And I think the reason why she's being so disrespectful, blatantly disrespectful. Bringing up Tupac's proposal. Why is that coming up now? Saying Chris Rock tried to hit on her. Why is that being said to the public after this man and your husband got into an altercation at the Emmys? From what it looks like on the outside looking in, and I have nothing against Jada at all. Obviously, I'm a Will Smith fan. Only actor in American history to garner 10 consecutive #1 box office hits. Nobody has ever done that, not even Denzel. Will Smith is the only actor to do that in American history. And on top of that, he's the first rapper to win a Grammy. So his place in history is etched solid. And I just think it's an unfortunate situation because he's been through a lot of things in his life. I never met him personally, but obviously he came out with the book detailing his situation. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but of course I get the reports from it. And I just think it's unfortunate what's going on because on the one hand, you have a man who doesn't want to get took to the cleaners by a woman who really didn't help him build his brand or his name. And on the other hand, you have a woman who says to herself, arguably, I gave you 2 children. I was here for the journey, although I may not have had anything to do directly with your success. I was still your emotional comfort. I was still your wife, your confidant, your partner. And I think she wants out the marriage. And I just think she's going at it in a very dysfunctional way. I think she's trying to embarrass him into divorcing her.
Dr. Umar says both sides probably feel justified, but where he becomes most critical is in how he believes Jada is handling it. He says instead of leaving directly, she appears to be applying pressure publicly, embarrassing music moments, awkward revelations, comments that make Will look uncomfortable. In his view, this isn't random. It's a tactic.
Where they were being interviewed and someone said something to the effect of marriage or divorce. I forget the question or the comment, but Jada responded by saying, quote, "It's cheaper to keep her." I think they said, "Why are you two still together?" And it was in a joking way. They weren't being, there was no animosity. They were not being adversarial. It wasn't even a serious conversation. It was very laid back and relaxed in a joking dialogue. But the person said, "Why are you guys still together?" And Jada Pinkett Smith's response was, "It's cheaper to keep her." He didn't say that. She said it. And I think that speaks to the fact that there was no prenuptial agreement.
Wow, man. So you think she's making all these comments intentionally hoping that he'll divorce her?
Absolutely. If you're not going to let me out of this marriage and give me half of what I feel I'm entitled to, because that's, the American way. Women get half of the man's estate, even if they didn't help him build it. And no disrespect to Jada, there's a very strong possibility that she helped Will get to where he is. I really can't see how, because he was always talented. I remember going to a Will Smith concert right here in Philadelphia, down at the Spectrum. It was Will Smith, New Edition was the headliners. It was Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff, Roxanne Shante, UTFO. I was a young blood back then. And I still remember Will when he was a rapper on stage. And once he went to Fresh Prince and then Independence Day and all those movies he was just a hit. The man was a hit. Every movie he put out, garnered billions of dollars at the box office. So, but again, I want to be respectful to her. That's a marriage. There's some things behind the scenes that we don't know about, where she could probably argue that she played a significant role, in his development as an actor. I don't know. Or as a businessman. But from the outside looking in as a Philadelphian, I don't see that. And I really just feel it's a situation where he's not going to give up half of what he has, and she's going to continue to antagonize him with the belief that if she gets on his nerves enough, he might let her out of the arrangement.
When people talk about Jada Pinkett Smith's lack of boundaries, many point to her later actions. But some say the pattern goes all the way back to the very beginning of her relationship with Will Smith. Yes, Will and Jada were married for over 20 years. But what often gets glossed over is how that relationship started. At the time Jada and Will began seeing each other, Will Music was still legally married to his first wife, Sherry Zampino. Even Jada's own mother, despite being willing to step into his first marriage while it was music ending, Jada admitted she never actually wanted to get married herself. She said the only reason she did was because she became pregnant. I really didn't want to get married, but we only got married because Gammy was crying. I was under so much pressure, being a young actress, being young, and I was just like pregnant, and I was just like I didn't know what to do, but I just knew I was like I never wanted to be married. For many people, music, that revelation hit harder than anything else. It suggested that the marriage, so often described as ride or die, may have been built on obligation rather than choice, and that music, Jada has tried to get out of that obligation secretly several times. Do you think we'll see more allegations about her come to light? Let us know in the comments below.